Hello everyone, welcome to Endpoint Central training sessions. So we're going to start this session shortly. Yeah, the Unified Endpoint Management and Security Solutions. Let me introduce myself. Karthik from Managed Engine Solution team, Senior Product Specialist, working closely with the security solutions, including Endpoint Central. Along with me, the presentation will be taken over by other two colleagues with me, the Senior Solutions, Bhavya and Induja, for covering the modern management endpoints and endpoint analytics. All right. So warm greetings to our partners, customers, resellers to this training session. Let's see the quick agenda where we are standing. So we are in the week 4, where we're covering the asset management for modern devices. So in the past sessions, we have started the series by Jan. So week 1, we have covered the vulnerabilities and automating the patch management activities. And on the week 2, how to secure the endpoints from known and unknown vulnerabilities detected in the environment. And as well as in the last session, we have covered the application deployment and how to application hardening can be taken place, along with the data security for legacy and modern endpoints. In upcoming sessions, you'll be able to see other features from the Endpoint Central for OS provisioning and other device onboarding sessions and all. And please do note that we have a certification program for whoever attends the webinar series can able to register yourself from the website manageengine.com/ems/free training and get yourself registered so that you can get the participate certificates for every series that you get attended. Let's see what we are going to see about it today, which is an asset management for modern devices, whatever we consider it as in Windows 10, 11, and macOS operating systems. Here's a quick agenda. So we're going to see about the overview of the Endpoint Central, Endpoint Management Solution, and how the data has been retrieved from the agents, and how we can able to detect the unauthorized applications in the platform, and we can able to identify and enabling the removal options from the end user's machine, and as well as the helpful help desk integrations as well. So we have an APIs and other help desk integrations we're going to see about with the use cases. And from that, we have a inventory module, and that collects the telemetry information. Using that, how the endpoint analytics will take in place, that purely for digital employee experience, that will be covered from the today's session. And as well as a final part, we're going to cover about how the corporate profiles are embedded to the modern devices, content management. And finally, we have a frequently asked questionnaire session. You can feel free to ask your questions at the end of the session, and we'll be happily answer on that. And in the meantime, we have a panelist waiting for your inputs during our sessions. In case of any questions, please feel free to post in the chat box. Our panelist can assist you accordingly. All right. So what is unified endpoint management? A famous researcher, Forrester, defines the unified endpoint management, the UEM, as the product that provides a centralized policy engine for managing and securing employee laptops and mobile devices from a single console. So that is what we are going to see about how the devices are getting managed in a distributed workforce, and how we are going to enabling the security of those endpoints with the security solutions. So within the Managed Engine Endpoint Central, so we have a product portfolio from the past 20 years. So we'll start with the UEM. So the product that has the UEM functionality that includes the patch management, whatever we seen in the last sessions as well. So which includes the third-party patching and as well as the OS patching and all. Along with that, configuration management, performing the 40 plus the telemetry configurations for Windows, Mac, Linux respectively. Application management, the software deployments can be taken place, how the applications can be deployed, and when it needs to be removable with the help of silent arguments and all. Asset management, that is a core part of this today's session, so we're going to see about it in detail. And then remote tools that helps the IT technician to remote to the end user's machine and perform the troubleshootings and all. Along with it, OS imaging and deployment for Windows platform, we are on it. And you will also get the device compliance report and whatever the device that getting onboarded with the Endpoint Central, those reporting and audit, along with that endpoint privilege management that comes with the application control. And the other platform, attack surface management. So we have a security models included, which is browser security, helps you to monitor your end users browser's activity, application control, enabling the application hardening, which has been seen in the last session, and data leakage prevention, vulnerability remediation, works closely with the patch management, and as well as the device control, help you to manage your peripheral devices in your endpoints. And this is the part that we are also going to see about in today's session, which is in endpoint analytics. We call it as an proactive IT. So before the any end user getting the troublesome from the end user's machine, you came to know as IT technician, you came to know as before, and to troubleshoot it before using our technologies. And along with it, we have an endpoint protection platform, which includes the ransomware protection and malware protections, along with next-gen antivirus. And in the EDR platform, we have the threat prevention, investigation and response, forensic analysis, and threat hunting, as it is currently already developed in our environment and early access for all our customers right now. And we also have a SASE platform, Zetna, Zero Trust Network Access, helps you to manage your computers or devices within your internet or intranet as well. So this is a product portfolio that contains with the Endpoint Central. So with regards to the endpoint management, we need to understand what are the devices that we consider as endpoints and what are the OS being supported, right? So we'll start with the desktops. We're managing the desktops, laptops, ATM machines, tablets, Apple TV, wearables, and along with it, in terms of retail industry, the POS machines, kiosk devices, mobiles, industrial mobile devices, Chromebooks, and as well as the browsers too. And in terms of operating systems, we manage all the traditional operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux, and other Android iOS devices also being managed with the Endpoint Central. So what we call it as a single page, all these multiple devices running in the distributed workforce can be managed in the single console itself. And this is a supported OS matrix for a quick reference, starting with the Windows 10 to Windows 11 that we are able to manage accordingly. And in terms of operating system with the server platform, starting with 2025 and the least 128 that can be manageable. And Linux, all the platforms, and Linux, Mac OS, all the platforms being manageable. And in terms of any questions related to the products, you can feel free to drop the chat box, your questions. And as well as you can always reach our support back, Endpoint Central support@manageengine.com. And as a platform, as a solution, Endpoint Central diversified into multiple things, whatever we discussed before, which helps you to perform the autonomous endpoint management. And this will also help you to perform the endpoint detection and response to enabling the security. And as well as it will continuously monitoring the threat exposure and helps you to management accordingly. And finally, the zero trust access as well. The popular researchers we've been identified or been recognized by the Gartner as a challenger, and Forrester along with 42% of ROI in terms of managing the endpoints, and with that IDC and ISD and other platform has been available. Then these informations are populated for publicly, and you can also refer to an internet basis in terms of getting the compliance information data. All right. Let's get into the asset management for modern devices today. All right. So if I can provide you the storyline that will help you to ensure the interactive sessions, I try to be achieve that. So let me start with the use cases. Consider John running a tourism business, any business that can be that includes the multiple departments, right? So just for an example, I will take in about the tourism business. So that comes with the under the general management, right? So there are wide ranges of departments will be in the organizations, including marketing, operations, finance, sales, HR, purchase, and all. Each department will have a respective devices. Endpoint needs to be manageable along with the respective policies and the application that needs to be deployed. So this can be available in the distributed workforce. So let's see how the distributed workforce will be presentable, right? So let's see here, John is responsible for managing the entire distributed workforce in the platform. So he'll start managing from the head office, right? So the headquarters will contain the end devices and these C-level machines that needs to be manageable, and the servers included, database servers and all. And then the devices that are works from the branch offices, you may have a multiple branch locations accordingly. We have a distribution server that can be manageable. And along with it, the user connected from the VPN, and as well as the user connected directly from the internet. We call it as in remote users. And every user may have also have a mobile devices also. So all these devices, the bunch of devices will be manageable under the John's responsible and across all the distributed workforce platform. And then here, so we consider as some two types, right? So he's managing endpoints as a remotely. So that is the two types of user. The user may connect over the VPN, may have a condition with a low bandwidth. The same way, the user may connect with the internet. There won't be any bandwidth restrictions. And those internet-based machines will be manageable directly via a secure gateway server. And as well as when it comes to the cloud, it is a direct communication with the cloud platform, and even as a work from home machine. So everything that needs to be manageable includes under the responsible from. Let's see, why do the enterprises need the asset management? So generally, we need to keep track of all the softwares, hardware assets in an organization, right? So we came to know what kind of applications currently being installed and how much license currently being utilized, so that we can make the decision whether the license needs to be additionally needed or we can able to reduce the cost accordingly. And as well as we need to have a compliance report that needs to be exported for any kind of audit at the time of audit. And the terms of in-depth reports needs to be captured so that you will be having a detailed view what is available in the inventory. Let's see how does inventory scanning works. So typically, Endpoint Central is an agent and client server model, right? So we need to deploy the agents into the targeted machines. So initially, the server will initiate the scan from the agent machines. The agent will capture the entire data, and the data will be populated to the Endpoint Central server, right? At the first part, it will be a full scan. And the next scan will be a subsequent scan. We call it as a differential scan. So the new data will be compared with the existing data. So only the difference will be sent to the Endpoint Central server. So what data has been collected from the Endpoint Central, right? From the agent point of view. Let's see in the console itself directly. So this is how Endpoint Central console will look like. So the UI level, everything has been common for operating on-premise solution and as well as the cloud-based solutions over here. And we can see the inventory part here, and there you can see the computers. In that, any machine that is being currently managed, you came to know the telemetry that is being collected from the agent point of view. The summary that helps you to capture whether the device has been joined in the domain or work group, what is the primary IP address and the primary owner allocated to that machine, and disk usage information, operating systems, what is been currently running, whether it is commercial or not, and as well as the service tag and serial number will be captured. Along with it, we have a expiry date, which is a warranty information. So readily, we have a supporting the Dell, Lenovo, and Toshiba. The warranty data will be captured automatically. And other manufacturers, we also have a provision to upload those informations via CSV platform. And then the system view help you to capture the users accounts currently embedded in the targeted machines. So what kind of accounts they have, whether it has been activated or degraded accounts, or the services currently being running, whether it is running state or stopped state as well, and groups being created in the targeted machines that will be captured over here. So status can be set as an OK and all. And the drivers currently running in that platform, whether it is working state or not working status, will be showcased. Along with it, share folders. So the shared folder is nothing but any shared folder that has been provided access to the targeted machines. You came to know the path and what is the descriptions provided to the share path as well. The hardware component information, the complete hardware data, starting from BIOS, what kind of BIOS and what type of hard disk that has been currently provided, keyboard, monitor, physical memory, the RAM memory, and all will be captured, how much memory has been supported. Along with it, some printers and pointers and what kind of ports are currently being running, every data will be captured. And you'll also have a detailed view on the software running applications, overall the desktop applications. You can also able to manage those applications from here. And you'll also able to list out Microsoft Store apps over there, what has been currently installed and who is the installer user account. And if you want to know about the software metering, like the usage of the respective applications, we can create them a rule as well. And when it comes to the certificates being published to the target machines, so we have a wide range of supported stores, so that you have to enable at beginning. And once done, whenever the scan has been performable, you came to know what kind of a personal certificate, trusted root certificates, enterprise trust certificates and all, when it has been issued and how long it has been valid, whether it has been expired or not, every data will be captured. And today we are also going to see about the geo tracking. It's a part of a MDM profile we're going to see about in the upcoming slides. If the device has been enrolled with the MDM profile, we're able to capture the geo tracking of the devices. And file details help you to capture number of files are currently being populated. So how you can also create a predefined rules. For example, if you're creating a rule name called the photos, that includes every extensions that related to the photos. So this will capture during the scanning activity totally how many photos related extensions are available and how much memory being consumed in the target machines. On the security view, you came to know the BitLocker status, whether it has been encryption or decryption on the specific drives. And if it is encrypted, you'll also able to get the recovery key status. In case if you want to manage your BitLocker, we have a security module called the BitLocker management that comes under the security module. And for the antivirus, number of third-party applications being installed, along with it, antivirus data will be captured. So whether it is protecting status or not protecting status, and the license applied to the application, whether it is an up-to-date or not up-to-date, those data, and as well as the installation path will be captured. And within the end machines, the firewall status, whether it has been enabled or disabled status will be captured. And overall, the missing patches list. So that has been covered in the threats and patches view as well. And as per the inventory, you can get the respective filters. So how many critical patches, how many important patches, moderate and all, you can able to get the reports directly from the inventory as well. And restrictions again are part of MDM profile. We're going to see about it later on. And then USB audit, this will help you to capture the peripheral devices. So any USB device being connected to the targeted machines, you came to know the list of devices over there and how long the device has been connected. And if you want to manage those devices, we have a security module called the device control. So in the configurations, we have a minimal security USB configuration as well. And when it comes to the device control, you have the control, what kind of device that needs to be allowed, what are the device that needs to be blocked in your platform. Along with, you can define just-in-time access as well. Temporarily, you can define the access for the specific devices, or the some devices that can be added into the trusted list as well. And overall, the audit history, the system uptime, downtime, along with it, any hardware changes happening, like software applications are getting installed or removed from the end machines, and hardwares are currently installed or removed from the end machines, those data, and user logon history, the user currently log into the target machines, log off time will be captured. So these are the telemetry data that is being collected from the agent, and data will be populated. So during the subsequent scan, in case of any changes are happening, that will be automatically captured and it will be posted over here. So that we can enable with the schedule scan options over here. So daily, weekly, or monthly, respective to the technician that you're defining them as a role, they can define as a respective inventory scan as well. And this hardware view help you to capture all the hardware stuffs over there, and as well as the software currently being installed. And you can get the reports by filtering out as a category or access type or the license type, exporting as a report. And pretty much the predefined reports are available with the asset management itself: hardware, software, security, warranty reports, certificate reports, everything that can be capturable. And these are predefined one. And in case if you want to have a in-house or customized report, that can be created using our custom reports platform. All the criteria and the columns will be provided, and you can also able to query the report as well. So these are the data that what we have seen before: hardware, software, the data being collected. Let's see the identifying the unauthorized applications. So here in the inventory, we have a application control. It's a minimal application control functionality here. So which is help you to perform the prohibit software, right? So here you can add a prohibited software, any application that are restricted in your environment. You can simply add it to the right side. The applications will be get added. And what needs to be done to the respective applications, whether it needs to be automatically uninstalled, you can notify the end users to uninstall the respective applications by defining the messages with these are the applications are prohibited, something like that. And also you can get the update auto uninstall status from the end user's machine. and the report will also give you the systems that are still with the prohibited software. Either of the things, if the end user may request their application, that will be listed out in the platform. As an administrator, you have the control whether the application request needs to be approved or denied in the console itself, right? And overall audit history will be provided. In some cases, the executable that needs to be blocked, that block executable options are provided here. You can simply add a policy, provide the custom group, the group of machines that can be added into one group, and then adding a executable files. So either it can be a path file or the hash rule as well, path rule or hash rule that you can able to do it. Hash rule that you can able to upload the applications and the strings will be automatically created. And if you want to get the enter hash value, you can able to follow the gate and enter your own hash values as well. Path view simply able to block the respective exe extensions and may able to block it from the end user machine itself. And then the advanced version of the application control as a security protocol and the security model we have, application control. This module help you to create your own applications list, whether it can be a allow list or a block list. So by default, we have a templates of application group for blocking the respective applications in terms of the predefined groups over there. So you can create your allow list or the block list accordingly. And these applications listed out over here based on the agent machine scanning. So the application is not from outside, it's from what are currently available in their environment. The overall vendor website will be provided and you can able to filter it out like vendors or product or using the file as a folder path. You can able to create them as a group. And once then you can define the policies, whether it needs to be blocked and all. And while you're deploying the policy here, so you'll be having a two types of mode, either with a audit mode or a strict mode. Initially, you can go with the audit mode that enables what are the applications being running. So that will help you to block the blocked applications and other applications can be run. And later stage, you came to know these are the strictly applications that needs to be run. You can ensure those allow list of applications can be run accordingly. And also you can get the just-in-time access, certain applications that you want to provide a period for a certain machines and the users, you can able to publish them accordingly. So only under the certain period, they can able to elevate it or they can able to run the applications accordingly. Along with it, we have a privilege management, endpoint privilege management. This feature helps you to capture like any kind of application that may need the administrative privileges that can be elevated directly here. Either you can go with it allow all the applications or any specific applications you can able to auto elevation, you can enable them accordingly. And this will also help you to get the administrative rights embedded accounts. So those removal accounts can be done from here. So the usual reports will be provided. The local user administrator accounts or any machine that has been contained, you can able to remove from the machine itself. And every modules will have a detailed reports over there. So what kind of applications being discovered or unmanaged applications, any changes that needs to be done, and audit reports can be generated. Okay. And by doing a system scan, you can enable the scan systems over here. So by default, drivers, services, shared folder, and the certificates will be enabled. And then software metering, as I mentioned, if you want to get the application usage, we can create a rule them accordingly. And that will help you to capture within 24 hours the respective applications being running and discovered in the respective number of machines, and total usage counts and all will be provided. And in terms of, I mentioned the user can able to request the applications, right? So applications can be requested. This the data will be look like this. From the agent machine, they have a agent toggle. They can right click, and what are the prohibited softwares being detected in the target machines will be listed out. And if the end user need the request, they can simply select it and request it to the administrative rights. So once this has been initiated, the request will be showcased in the console itself, where the admin take the privilege to allow or block the respective request. And this is how the platform running in the prohibited software. Once you created the software rule, and agents will be notified the list of applications, these are the prohibited one against the rule. And as well as it can enable the applications automatically uninstall or informing the end users to uninstall the applications, and they can also request the software for the access. And here, integrating the endpoint central with the Servitors Plus, right? So the architecture over here, Servitors Plus is a standalone, the ticketing based tool, and you'll also able to manage the asset informations here, right? So by using this endpoint central server, the agent will already collecting the inventory data, the telemetry data has been captured, and by integrating these two components, the IT admins can able to automatically receiving the informations, and they can able to resolve the issues that has been raising from the end user side. So the benefits of those integrations, of course, a better end user experience for the incident management. And as well as the non-tech user also can be raise a request and performing the IT management task. And that also reduce the downtime of in case of any issues. The basic IT requirements doesn't need to be wait for the certain period in the distributor workforce. And as well as the remote control functionality in case of any remote control that needs to be taken, troubleshooting that can be done directly from the service desk platform as well. So we're going to see about what are the telemetry data that has been collected so far. And in the upcoming slides, we're going to see about the endpoint analytics using this telemetry, how the proactive IT has been performing, how the end users are facing the issues before they reporting to the IT admins. They came to know what kind of issues are currently being performing in the upcoming sessions. And along with it, some other third-party integrations we have been supported. That includes the vulnerability management solutions, Tenable, Rapid7, CrowdStrike, and as well as the ticketing-based tool, ITSM tools with the Zendesk, Zira, ServiceNow, all things has been supported. All right. So far we have covered about the asset management done from the inventory platform running in the application control. We're going to see about the DEX platform shortly. I have a colleague, Bhavya, going to be taken from the DEX platform here. I'll just quickly hand over the same. Kindly give us a minute.
Hi everyone, am I audible right now? So in our previous session, Karthik has covered the asset properties, which is the foundation of endpoint visibility. And today I'll be taking over DEX Manager Plus, which links the asset performance with real-time user experience, turning the raw data into actionable insights, which makes the IT departments to proactively resolve the issues before they impact productivity. Thank you for joining this webinar. I'm Bhavya. I'm a senior product specialist at Manage Engine. Today, I'll be introducing you to a concept and solution that plays a very important role in modern IT operations, which is DEX Manager Plus. So instead of waiting for users to raise tickets, DEX Manager Plus enables IT teams to identify the issues, enable the issues proactively, and ensure uninterrupted employee productivity without waiting for them to raise the tickets. Let me just explain this with a simple scenario. Instead of waiting for a user to say, my system is slow, DEX Manager Plus already knows which device is slowing down, why it is happening, how frequently it occurs, and what corrective actions can be taken. And all of these set actions are automated. By utilizing DEX Manager Plus, we achieve these key business outcomes, which is proactive and faster issue resolution, insight-led change rollout, predictive hardware lifecycle management, enhanced visibility on collaboration tools, priority user experience intelligence, and then comes the software license reclaim and optimization. We'll be touching on these key business outcomes as we move towards in the today's session. So these outcomes provide real and tangible results for both IT team as well as employees. In the IT team's perspective, DEX Manager Plus reduces the L1 and L2 tickets drastically before the issue is being reactively addressed. So through the L1 and L2 tickets being drastically reduced, the IT teams can focus on more strategic work as well as resolve the issues way faster. For IT employees, it provides zero digital friction with uninterrupted employee productivity, ensuring a smoother workflow. Here, we have a powerful combination of the IT team as well as employee that saves measurable time and provides a considerable ROI, enhancing the overall business system performance. Now that we have understood what DEX Manager Plus is and how it works, let me just move into the console so that we can understand this more in a better and a practical way. So DEX Manager Plus, this is how the console would look like. At the very top of the console, we have the home dashboard. Further, we move to the device experience score. We have the base score over here, which is represented as 75. Just above that, we have 49, which provides the combined digital experience score of the entire organization, Within a single number, you can entirely understand how the digital experience of employees is across the organization. So instead of individually analyzing the devices right away, we get a simple single score which represents the entire digital experience. Moving forward, to understand how the experience score has evolved over time, or fluctuated or degraded, we can see through the experience score trend, which has the data from the last 7 days to up to 30 days. We can closely monitor the specific trends by selectively identifying these categories and ensuring that how the experience score has been improved can be viewed over here. Finally, we move to the high priority insights. Under high priority insights, we can see the critical issues that have been happening across the entire organization. As an added advantage, we can also filter them based on the remote office location. Let's say your remote office is in Chennai or Hyderabad, you can simply filter them and you can see the entire digital experience across those entire specific organization as well as environment. We have the device experience score range, which provides you the device level impact. Let's say the devices are automatically categorized based on the score. For example, if the score is between 71 to 100, the devices which automatically fall into this category will be considered to have a good experience. To even drill down this further, we can move to the devices section. So all these devices will have their entitled experience score. Let me just move into this particular device. So under this device, we have the base score as well as this device's specific experience score. The experience score is calculated across 4 core categories, which is device performance, application reliability, device stability, and then the device responsiveness. Under all of these categories, we have multiple metrics which are evaluated with considerable weightages. And these weightages as well as these metrics are visually highlighted in green, red, and yellow color, indicating good, average, and poor experience. As I scroll down these segments, you can understand that these experience score as well as its weightages are pretty customizable based on your organizational requirements. To customize this, we'll move to the admin tab. So under admin, we have the score settings. So in the score settings, based on the predefined thresholds we have already created over here, but based on your organization requirement, let's say if 50 to 70% is considered to be a good experience in terms of the CPU usage, you can actually customize it based on your organization priorities and provide them over here. So based on this, the experience score as well as the defined thresholds for insights will be generated, from where you can draw the experience score as well as insight over here. To understand Dex Manager Plus, now let's understand how IT typically operates today. Let's say in an organization, there is an employee named Carl. So the Carl is experiencing a Teams application crash. Suddenly, his video is being cut out. The issue repeats during a leadership presentation. By the time the ticket is raised, it lands with a L1 technician. The L1 technician runs diagnostic issues, collects the logs, takes the remote session, but still he's unable to find a resolution. So by then, the ticket is being escalated while the OEMs being involved in it, where the L1 rolls out the fix to understand that this is due to a specific Teams application version which has caused this specific crash. So the L1 rolls out the fix and documents the same for future use cases. So what we understand over here is from the initial crash till the issue resolution took almost across hours or even a day to identify the detection as well as till the resolution. But with Dex Manager Plus, even before Carl reporting the same Teams application crash, we can identify the same application Teams crash using our insights even before multiple user tickets are being raised. So through this, you'll be able to understand what are the issues as well as the affected devices with one single insight. By this time, the L1 would understood that this is due to a specific Teams application crash. Along with the insights information, we would have it specified where the L1 will deploy a workflow to roll back the same Teams application for all the impacted users using Dex Manager Plus itself. So here is the real impact. In the traditional setup, it almost took 90 minutes per issue. But through Dex Manager Plus, it only took 5 to 10 minutes to come from the issue to till the resolution. Now, similarly, I'm going to talk about another Microsoft application crash, which involves OneDrive. So under Insights, we can proactively identify the potential area for improvement across our organization. OneDrive is something like a critical business application. Under OneDrive, we have file synchronization, backups, as well as employee having access to important documents. If the application of OneDrive keeps on getting failed, it will be leading to backups being failed, as well as the employee losing access to certain documents, which eventually leads to data risk. So before that, through Dex Manager Plus, application crash will be immediately notified with the category as well as the indicator and the criteria in which this inside details will be reflected. Under View Summary, I can see which specific application version has contributed this crash, as well as the number of crashes that has occurred in the past 24 hours with the affected devices. Within the single insight, I can understand the number of affected devices which has been pertaining to this specific application crash itself. Now that the issue is identified, we will move to the resolution step in which our workflow builder will come in. So workflow builder will have a key component. It is a visual representation of automation workflow which connects with the decision-making, automated remediation without any manual intervention. So it will simply start with the data collection, which is gathering the real-time data or status from the device to understand what is exactly happening on the device. Then it will move to the condition, which is specifying a condition, which is evaluating whether the data from the data collected, it has to move to a defined workflow, will be specified over here. From the condition, we'll move to the remote action where it executes a predefined script for the endpoints remotely. For example, to repair an application or a reset to application can be maintained over here. We also have additional components like engage, send mail, restart, as well as delay. So under engage, you can prompt the user with a message or confirmation before continuing with the specific workflow. We also have a send mail option where you can send an automated ticket or a mail to the IT administrator, keeping them informed of the actions that is done through the workflow. We have restart to initiate a system restart on the endpoints. We also have delay, which is collectively making sure that the workflow deploys in a certain time later. So now that we have understood how Workflow Builder works, which is like the building block of component, let me just show you in the console in a real world time scenario. Since we have identified that there is a OneDrive application crash, I'll move into the sensor to collect what is exactly happening on the device. Sensors are essentially a PowerShell script. So it is used to manually use a data collection logic by the IT administrator to collect specific data from the endpoints. Here you can add a field and specify the data type in which data type you have to collect from the endpoints can be mentioned over here. Here I have already created a sensor for OneDrive sync details where I'll collect the information of sync progress state, Office sync active, Office sync enable, files to download, files to upload, as well as changing pending to process. So by collecting this OneDrive sync details, I'll move to the remote actions where it is again a script. We support different types of script types such as VBS, PowerShell, as well as BAT type of scripts. So utilizing this script, we can create one and repair the OneDrive application crash that has occurred. The OneDrive application crash might have been occurred due to a sync corruption. So by resetting the OneDrive, we can repair the restart OneDrive client, which will attempt to perform a synchronization after the restart. Now this entire sensor and remote action is orchestrated through workflows. Now that we have already known about what Workflow Builder is, I'll just move to the OneDrive management workflow that we have created already. So it will begin with the start node and we'll move to the sensor to collect all the OneDrive sync status detail. Now the condition which we will evaluate through the switch. So through the switch, we will present a use case. Let's say if the sync is up to date, the workflow will simply end. If the sync is not up to date, then the remote action will be triggered to repair the OneDrive. So, and then the end workflow will simply end. So without any manual intervention and just with a visual automation framework, we can identify the issue, collect the sync status detail, and if the sync is not up to date, the OneDrive is getting repaired. Let me just move to another use case as well to understand how Dex Manager Plus performs. We have the predictive hardware lifecycle management, which is one of the key business outcomes. So through predictive hardware lifecycle management, I'm going to take the use case of battery health. So battery degradation is not something that can be identified through immediate or obvious symptoms. Battery degradation can be identified only when the user complains that their laptop is shutting down during important meetings, or let's say the backup is no longer sufficient. So by the time the ticket is raised, the productivity is already impacted, the employees are frustrated, as well as the pressure on IT team increases. But through Dex Manager Plus, we can already identify what are the devices that require the battery replacement. Here, we get a total impacted devices as well as the top impacted model in which this battery requirement is required, as well as the top impacted vendor, as well as the devices which are under battery warranty. The battery health details that is collected over here is battery health, cycle count, as well as the backup time. Since we already identified what are the devices that require the battery replacement, we will move to the sensor to move to what is exactly happening on the battery health condition. So that's why we'll collect all the battery health percentage details, the battery design capacity, as well as the battery full charge capacity, as well as the cycles count and the current battery backup time. So collecting all these sensor details, we will then move to the orchestration of workflow builder, which is the workflow again, which will move to the battery replacement. Let me just modify it so you can understand in a better way. So this again will start with the start node. The sensor will collect all the battery details from the endpoints, which then will be evaluated with the switch condition. If the battery is healthy, the workflow simply ends. If the battery is degraded, then the engage component, which is used to proactively notify the end users and engage with the end users in terms of the choices, can be collected from the end users. Let's say if since the battery is significantly degraded, we can proceed with a choice of their own. If they are willing to proceed with the replacement, then automatically a ticket is raised through a send mail option of the workflow. So through the send mail, the replacement request is raised through the IT admin, where the IT admin is also notified, as well as it logged and tracked for reporting. And if the employee decides not to go for the replacement, the workflow will simply end. Now that we have identified how workflow, sensors, and remote action works, we have to move to the next best crucial component, which is deployment. So deployments will be happening through the targeted computers through a custom group. Custom group are nothing but a group of computers. You can specify it in a predefined criteria. Let's say you have multiple departments in your organization. For sales department, there will be a certain set of computers. You can define them accordingly to the predefined criteria that you would like to have. And we have two different deployment modes, which one is immediate as well as schedule. Immediate means these deployment happen in real time. Schedule means these deployment happen in a non-productive hours or during productive hours in which you want to schedule it in a specific predefined time. Next, we'll move to the remote report section. So under Dex Manager Plus, we support out-of-the-box reports, such as schedule reports, where you can schedule the reports, as well as user logon reports, power management reports, as well as inventory reports. So we have multiple inventory reports that are available over here. In order, if you want to have to customize the report for yourself, you can move to the custom reports. And let's say any sensor that is created in the sensor section will be automatically generated as a custom report over here. You can filter them based on your condition. Let's say the computer name or computer FQDN can be created over here as columns, and you can also visualize them through charts from the bar till the funnel charts will be available from over here. Another one added advantage of Dex Manager Plus is the extensions. Extensions are nothing but a pre-built marketplace or pre-built library of workflows, sensors, as well as other resources designed to meet your specific goals. So we have the most common use case displayed over here. You can simply select them and add them and customize them and deploy it quickly. So instead of manually creating everything, every sensor, remote action from scratch, you already have it predefined available over here. You can simply select them and deploy them to the endpoints. Another one feature that is worth highlighting in Dex is sensor creation. So sensor can be created in three forms. One is through manual creation, where you customize it based on your data collection logic. Second is through extensions, where we have a pre-built marketplace. Third is through our AI-owned power-based approach tool, which is ZIA-Ask. Using ZIA-Ask, you can create a sensor to collect Wi-Fi performance data, can be the single prompt which will create a sensor within few minutes. Within a single prompt, the sensor will be created within few minutes, which can be extended to the workflow and then deployed to the endpoints. Another feature that I would like to touch upon is the device timeline feature. So rather than juggling between multiple tools, the IT administrator can understand how the issue has occurred in the endpoints without even moving to the logs as well as remote session. It's taking quite a bit of time. So this is how the device timeline would look like. So in case of any issue that has occurred, let's say the system is being slow, you can understand how this CPU usage or memory usage spike has contributed to the specific issue currently that is happening. So we have the past few data, and in this, the anomalies as well as CPU usage trend will be monitored over here. To initiate with Dex Manager Plus, you simply have to install a lightweight component called the agent, which will collect all the device and application telemetry data from where the experience score as well as insights will be onboarded. And that's all about Dex Manager Plus. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. And I hope this session was informative now that Induja will be taking over the MDM capabilities. And thank you.
Hello, everyone. That was a really insightful session by my colleague Bhavya. Let us just move on to the last section of today's presentation. My name is Induja. I'm a senior product specialist with Manage Engine. So, like I said, this is the last section of today's presentation, and we are going to see how to manage the modern endpoints via Endpoint Central. So when I say modern endpoints, it includes Windows laptops and MacBooks, and also your handheld devices like the Android and iOS smartphones. So we will see how to deploy profiles or policies through the MDM module of Endpoint Central to Windows and Mac devices first. So the first section is distribution of profiles to Windows devices. So for Windows devices, not just the legacy desktop machines, to also the laptops, you can deploy basic settings such as Wi-Fi, VPN, email, etc. via Endpoint Central when you deploy it to the end user. Meaning, as an IT admin, if you are onboarding the device for the first time and you are giving it away to the employees, you can set these basic settings and you can ensure there are certain restrictions in place before you give it to the employees for their usage. So let me just show the examples on the console. So in Endpoint Central, under MDM module, you navigate to management and you will have the option profiles. So you click on profile, create profile and choose the platform here. So I've already created a Windows profile. So let me just open that and I'll show it to you. Like I said, you can configure the basic settings like Wi-Fi, VPN, etc. So all you have to do is just click on add and enter the SSID. And if you have a passcode set, you can enter that and save it. Similarly, for VPN, you can select the connection type that you're going to deploy for your end user machines. And you can enter the server details. And if you have any specific user authentication in mind, you can configure that as well and save that here. When it comes to restrictions, we do have some basic restrictions like camera and screenshot restrictions and certain security measures, such as preventing the users from resetting the machines. And if you want to track the device location, you can set the location services to always on, meaning the user will not be able to disable the location services at all. So you can configure these basic security restrictions also. And another important profile policy that we have for Windows laptops is a kiosk mode. Kiosk is basically locking down the device with a specific set of applications. So You can lock down the device with one application also in single app kiosk mode. But in my example, I've taken the multi-app kiosk mode, which is allowing more than one application on the end user machines. So you can just configure all these policies in the profile, save it and publish it. Once the profile is published, you can navigate to groups and devices, select a group of devices or select an individual device, click on action, associate profile, and select the profile that you would like and click on associate. So if you do that, the policies or profiles that you had configured will be deployed onto the machines. So when you deploy a kiosk profile, this is how it will look like on the end user machine. So only those allowed applications will be available on screen. The user can toggle between them, but they'll not be able to access any other application on the machine, any other unapproved application. So let us move on to the next part, which is deploying these settings for Mac machines. So even for MacBooks, you will have similar settings. So let me just open a Mac profile. So you will find similar settings here also, like Wi-Fi, VPN, etc. And you will have restrictions also in place: camera restriction, screenshot restriction, application restriction, etc. Now, along with this, you also have an option to deploy some proactive policies to ensure that the corporate data is completely secured. So let me just create another profile and I'll show it to you. So you have file vault encryption here. So in a corporate machine, the MacBook, which is owned by your organization, you have several confidential information, and it is only reasonable that you ensure that those data are secured, completely secured, and there is no possibility for any kind of breach. So you can deploy or you can enforce encryption using the MDM module under Endpoint Central. So you have the file vault encryption option here. So you can enforce the encryption using a personal recovery key or a common institutional or organizational level recovery key, or a combination of both. So to have a highly secured environment, it is recommended to have the combination of both, that is both personal and organizational recovery key. And if you wish to let the end user see the keys also, you can do that. And if you want to add any certificates for additional level of security, you can add that as well. So you can save the profile, publish it, and deploy it to the required set of groups or individual devices using the same navigation that we did for the Windows machines also. So that's with configuring basic settings or profile policies for computers, which is Windows and Mac devices. Moving on. So let us consider a scenario that someone breaks into your Mac machine and tries to get hold of your corporate data. So how can it happen? Let's say someone gets physical access to your Mac computer, but they'll not be able to log in because they do not have your username and password, of course. But what if they have an USB stick and they have an OS file and they just try to boot it up as an external storage and try to get access to your data? That is very much possible. So in order to prevent such instances where the devices could be booted from an external storage and the data could be breached, we do have an option called firmware passcode. So let me just show you that option. That also comes under profile. So under profile Mac OS, you will find firmware passcode here. So you can enter the password beforehand. That is, you proactively configure this security setting for the managed MacBooks. So nobody will be able to boot the machine from an external storage or from an external device and get access to your data. Only and only if they have access to your authorized way of authentication, like username and password or any other fingerprints and any approved way of authentication, they'll be able to log into your machine. Other than that, the machine or the data inside it will be completely inaccessible to any other ways. So firmware passcode ensures that. So this also follows the same process. You just configure the password, save it, publish the profile, and then deploy the profile to the required set of devices. So let us move on to the next scenario, which is distributing corporate information securely. So far we have seen how to prevent any unauthorized access, or how to prevent the users from leaking any sensitive information. But how do you distribute some information securely to your managed Mac computers or Windows computers? So that could be achieved through the content management module in Endpoint Central. So under MDM, you will find content management under the management submodule. So you can add any kind of document or any kind of data that you'd like to distribute to your managed computers. So it could be either an audio file or a video file, or some basic photos, or PDF documents. So anything, or it could be some training videos that you'd like to circulate among your employees. So any kind of document, you just need to add it from your local machine to the content repository that is available here. So once it's added to the repository, you select the file and share it with the individual device that you would like to have it on, or a group of computers. So you just select the department to whom you would like to deploy the data, and then just choose distribute. So this way, the files will be deployed to the MDM application available on that specific device. It could be a computer, it could be a mobile device. You need to have the Manage Engine MDM app on the device, inside which you will find the content catalog where all the distributed files will be available. So you can also download the files. So you can find the downloaded files in a separate category. And the files can be opened directly inside the MDM app, meaning you do not have to allow any other third-party applications to access this specific document. So let's say you are sharing some confidential information, like the tender notice as an example here. And you do not want this particular document to be accessible by any other application on the device, apart from the ones that you have deployed, the managed applications. So you can securely distribute it through content management, which will ensure that the document is opened inside the MDM itself. MDM itself will act as a document viewer here. So any other application, any other third-party applications will be prevented from accessing this specific document. And if you want to categorize these documents that you are deploying, you can add tags to them. So it will be categorized based on the tags as well. So that's with content management. The next important feature that we are going to see is geo-tracking. Geo-tracking is tracking down the device location, whether it is a Windows machine or a Mac computer or an Android device or an iOS device. You can just track the physical device location as long as it is enrolled under the MDM module of Endpoint Central. So how do you configure that? That comes under MDM inventory. And over here, you will find geo-tracking settings. So you just need to configure whether to track the device all the time or only when lost mode is enabled. We will see what lost mode is in a few moments. So you can configure your preference whether to track all the devices or only specific set of devices, and whether or not you would want to save the location history. And if you want to save the location history, how often do you want to save them? So you will have all the configurations available, all the options available. You can set it up as you want, and you can save the changes. And once you have saved, you will be able to find the device location under the location data page. So it will look something like this. Under location data, you will find the location details of all the enrolled devices at once. In a single page, you will be able to view them. And if you hover on a specific device, you will find the device information along with the location details here itself. So now we have seen how to track a specific managed device's location. But how do you restrict that specific device from leaving a particular area? That is also possible via MDM through geofencing. So under MDM management, you will find geofencing policy where you will be configuring the fence first. Fence is basically the radius that you configure for the device to be within. So you can create a fence by searching for the location directly on the maps. Let me just choose our office location as an example here. And you can set the radius as whatever the coverage that you would want. So as an example, I'm choosing 1 kilometer here. So if I click on create, the fence will be created. So you will find the premise and the certain radius around it. So I can click on create to create this fence. So if you see under fence repository, you see a lot of fences that we had already created. So you can find the location and the radius here, right? So once the fence is created and listed under fence repository, you can configure the policy then on. Under fence policy, create policy here and select not within, meaning when the device is not within that configured radius, when it moves out of that radius. So you can choose which fence you are referring to. As an example, I'm choosing our office radius. And here you will find two options: to get notified or to take certain action. So if I choose notify and if I choose send email to admin, when the device moves out of the fence, an email will be triggered to the endpoint central admin stating that so-and-so device has moved out. But adding to the notification, if I want to take certain action on the device, I can choose action here and select complete wipe if I want to wipe out the device. Or if I want to lock down the device into loss mode, I can choose loss mode also. So I'll explain what loss mode is. So on top of it, if I want to wipe out, I can select that as well. So all these actions will be taking place on the device sequentially. So I can create the policy and I can associate the policy with whichever set of devices I would like to associate it with. So that's geofencing, which will prevent the devices from moving out of a particular area. So now we come to the loss mode, which is securing the devices that are lost or being stolen. So you will find the loss mode option under MDM inventory. So you can click on any specific device and under actions, you will find the loss mode here. So basically enabling the loss mode will break down the device, meaning the device will be inaccessible to the end user then on. If you click on enable loss mode, you see here the device will be locked with a black screen with a message overlaid on top of it. So you can modify this message also as per your organizational requirement. And if you want to provide a contact number for the person who has physical access to this device, if you want to give it for their convenience, you can give the number also. So once the device is locked into loss mode, the end user will not be able to access anything else on the device, meaning they'll not be able to get past of this black screen at all. So the only way you bring back the device to normal mode is to stop the loss mode again from the same path. That will be the only way. So if you configure geofencing, like I explained earlier, and in the geofence policy, if you are configuring loss mode here, let's say I'm choosing action and I'm choosing loss mode here. As soon as the device moves out of that configured geofence, the device will be logged into loss mode. That is, it will be logged in a black screen with a message overlaid on top. And if the user decides to get back into the fence, the device will not go back to its normal mode automatically. It needs to be, this movement needs to be notified to the endpoint central admin. And the admin has to bring the device back to normal mode by disabling the loss mode from the path that I showed you earlier. So this way, the admin will be kept in loop of any movement that happens in and out of the geofence that you are configuring. So that's with securing the devices that are lost or stolen. So this is how the device will look like on an actual device. This is how it will look like after you have configured and the device is logged into loss mode. So we have come to the last part of this today's session. So we'll have a few scenarios and we'll discuss the solutions for them also. The first scenario is if you are using an Active Directory in your organization and if you want to add the Mac devices automatically into your AD while onboarding them onto your Endpoint Central MDM. You can do that by profiles again. So under Endpoint Central MDM, Management, Profiles, you create a macOS profile and you see the AD asset binding option here. So basically, all you need to do is enter the device hostname and the username and password for your Active Directory. So once you have entered and the OU path to where this Mac device must be added. So you need to add all these information and save this profile, publish it to all those MacBooks which you would like to add to the AD path. So you are onboarding, let's say 100 MacBooks at once onto Endpoint Central, and you are adding them into a group and you are deploying this profile to that particular group. All those 100 MacBooks will be added under this OU path automatically. So that is AD asset binding. So you do not have to manually add the computers onto Active Directory first and then onboard into MDM or do the vice versa separately. So while onboarding itself, as soon as it is onboarded into Endpoint Central, this profile will get triggered and it will be added to AD automatically. So this is simplifying two processes in one. And the next scenario is, it's the same page. The next scenario is, do we have the option to decide the data that is fetched by Endpoint Central MDM? Yes, you do have that privilege, and you can also notify the information to the end users. So under settings, under Endpoint Central MDM settings, you will find device privacy under privacy settings. So here you can click on modify and you will be able to select the kind of data that you wish MDM to fetch from the managed devices. Let's say you are managing 100 computers, but you do not want MDM to fetch the location information from any of them. So you can just set geolocation to do not collect. And if you do not want MDM to fetch the phone number of any managed smartphones, you can set it to do not collect. So you can configure which all data you would like MDM to collect and what data you do not want them to collect. So I can just configure that here and save the privacy policy. And the next part, that is to notifying the end user, you do have the option called terms of use. So over here, you will have the terms of use document. This is basically the kind of document that will appear when you onboard a device newly into MDM. When MDM profile is getting installed, there will be a terms and conditions or terms of use document where the basic information related to the MDM management will be given. So in this document, you can mention the kind of data that are being fetched by MDM. And if you had specifically blocked the location or if you had specifically blocked phone number, you can explicitly mention that. That is the location and phone number details are not fetched by this MDM. So you can, without any fear, go ahead and enroll your device onto Endpoint Central MDM. You can mention that for your end users reference. So that can be done. The next scenario is notifying the employees about any scheduled maintenance or any emergency activity. So that could be done via announcements. So under Endpoint Central MDM management module, you have announcements here. So you can create an announcement. You can give it a title, enter the message, and you can select the kind of message it is. Is it an alert or is it a basic information or is it an announcement? You can configure that. And if you'd like to get an acknowledgement that this user has read your announcement, you can enable that as well here. So you can maybe enter the acknowledgement text as okay or maybe read. You can just configure that here and save the announcement. Once the announcement is saved, you can distribute it to the required set of devices. So if there is a scheduled maintenance for a specific department, I can choose distribute and select that particular department devices alone and distribute the announcement. So that's with notifying the employees in bulk. And the last scenario is the option to take action on unattended devices. So that is possible through remote control. So you do have remote view and remote control option. This is completely dependent on the kind of devices that you are managing. So if it is mobile device such as Samsung or Zebra or Honeywell devices, you will have remote control option, because these vendors, they give out the remote control option for any other third-party solutions to access the device. But for certain devices like iOS or any other Android devices, you will mostly have remote view option, meaning you will only be able to see what is happening on the device rather than directly accessing them from Endpoint Central Console itself. So you can take remote into the device and you can take certain action onto them. And you also have certain remote commands that you can execute. So you can select a group of devices or individual devices, and you can remotely restart them or remotely shut down them as well. So this is the last scenario. Now we have come to the end of the session. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat box. So my colleague and I will answer most of them in this live Q&A session. Hi, Amrik. Yes, you will get a recording of this session, and the videos link and the ones that you have missed out earlier, everything will be sent out. I think all the questions in the Q&A session has been answered already by our panelists. So I think we can just go ahead and wind this session off. Before you go, please do rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is the best. And we would also love for you to spread a word about our free training on the social media handles. So these are our social media handles here. Please do spread the word. And this is the next training schedule, which is scheduled for 18th of February, which is next week. And these are the timings. That's the same timing as today. And if you have a request for a personalized demo session, you can just scan this QR code and drop your request, or you can access this link also and request for a demo session. You can drop your demo session request in the chat box also, so our panelists can directly loop you in with our scheduling team and we can have a demo arranged. Once again, thank you so much for joining today's session and have a wonderful day.